I've worked with Nest.
Hi guys. It is 7:50. I'm calling this meeting to order.
Okay. Roll call today. Our questions from Nash are: what is a niche topic that you know too much about, or would you rather win an Olympic gold, an Oscar, or a Nobel? Please also tell us the subjects if you want. Well, no, keep it a mystery. Let's do what Nobel Prize you want if you choose to answer that question. And we're gonna be popcorning today again. I'll go first. I would rather win an Oscar. Yes. Popcorn to. I think Herb wants to go. That makes me not want to call him. But yeah, sure, Herb. Go ahead.
Give me the Oscar.
What?
I'll take the Oscar.
Okay.
Popcorn.
Who do you popcorn?
I know way too much about the Great Molasses Flood. Do you know about it?
I found out about it all.
It's sick. It's my favorite thing ever.
What?
It's like great 30 seconds. Okay, there was a car on the highway. Of course, this happened in Boston. There was a truck on like the highway. It was full of molasses. It tipped over. A lot of people like died. It was actually really bad. Because once you're stuck in molasses, you can't move. Like it got you. It's like quicksand but worse, and you can't breathe because like it's molasses. So everyone died. But you know, I think it's really interesting. Oh yeah. I popcorn Charlie.
A niche topic I know a lot about is the TV show Survivor. Seen every season of it multiple times. Popcorn Mercedes.
A niche topic I know about. So Portland has a lot of bridges. I know. Yeah. Popcorn's there. I know a lot about the. Okay, well, I'm forgetting the name of it. But I think it's called like the Fermi paradox or Fermi hypothesis. And it's just about like the question of why haven't we like legitimately encountered extraterrestrial life? Because our universe has been around for so long and is so big that it's like quite weird that there has been no sign of anything besides us.
Wait, but is like a question or is that something you know about? Sorry.
Like I know like about some theories about it.
Yeah. That was like a lingering question.
Yeah, I'll popcorn to Mateo.
These are two really good questions. Can I answer them both?
Yes.
So like a dream of mine, like if I could like have multiple careers, would be like to win an Oscar. Like I love movies, and I watch the Oscars every year. So yeah, probably that for the second question.
This weekend.
Yeah. 6 p.m.
Yeah.
What a niche topic I know too much about is probably running. Yeah, I know way too much about like running at the professional. Used to be at the high school level and now at the college level. Yeah. I would like to. Oh, sorry. I would like to popcorn to my fellow runner over there,
What's his name?
Senator Madden.
Senator Madison.
Let's see. A niche topic I know way too much about is airports. If you show me any airport in the U.S. on satellite, like literally any single airport, I can tell you which city it is, what airport it is.
Could we test that out?
Yeah.
I don't. Is it in Julius?
kind of airports.
Like a picture of the airport and what it
On
is?
satellite, yeah. In the US, like major airports, I can
Now,
tell you.
could you like look it up? Is that possible?
Like a super random.
They'll see what I'm looking for.
James, close your eyes.
Yeah, close your eyes.
No, we got it.
It's gotta be in the US.
Like a
major.
super random one.
Like, it can be relatively random, I don't know what it is.
James, how many runways does SFO have?
4.
That's easy.
Okay. I'll open to suggestions.
You were
Go
saying
with
that,
a
like,
small one.
That's,
No, that's easy.
Wait.
that's way too hard.
Wait.
Yeah, I realize there could be as much as that.
He got it.
I know, that's.
Are you good?
Wait.
No, we have to get it.
How's this?
Look down, you have to.
Open
down-
division,
Oh,
open,
yeah.
open, right, yeah.
Yeah.
No, not that
Oh,
one.
open the image in your tab, not the link.
Wait, yeah, open image.
Okay.
Open,
James.
James.
No, you got it. Yeah.
Now, and some of the other
Okay, James, you're good.
Dallas, Fort Worth.
What's the largest major city with only one runway?
The largest major city with only one runway, I would say probably San Diego.
Yeah, you're right.
If I may ask, how do you know all this?
I don't know, it's a really weird hyperfixation. Looked at maps and atlases a lot as a kid. That, like trains, I know like a lot about like separation of neighborhoods based on train tracks and stuff like that. It's a really weird niche thing. but-
Cool.
Yeah.
Who do you popcorn, James?
Oh, right. I popcorn, yeah, go.
I'd want to win a Nobel Prize.
This is gonna sound really questionable, but I know a lot about tsunamis. And I am obsessed with tsunamis. And when the tsunami warning went off in Benson, it was like the best day of my life. And I was really sad that we didn't have a tsunami.
I know a lot about psychopharm, specifically postpartum psychology.
I couldn't think of a good answer for each topic, so I'll just say Oscar. Jalissa?
Maybe like Disney songs. Me and my sister would like do the YouTube videos like where you guess that Disney song. So I know a little too much about it. Like if you play like a beat, like we'll guess it right away. So yeah, maybe don't test me. But yeah. I'll point to Jonathan.
So when you're at the gas station, you have the 3 different octanes. You have 87, 89, and 91. And you would think that there's a special tank for each level of octane. Right? You think that there's an 87 tank, 89 tank, and a 91 tank. Right? But there are only 2. There's an 87 tank and a 91 tank. When you push the plus button for 89 octane gas, it gives you a 1-to-1 combination from the tank with the 87 octane and the tank from the 91 octane.
So you know a lot about gasoline.
Oh, like, yeah, gas stations. I'll popcorn to, I'm sorry, you're new. What's your name?
Bunch.
Bunch. I'll popcorn to you.
It's always, when you talk about it, it's like herbal medicine, people don't know like herbal medicine, it's describing my friends and stuff. I feel absolutely no change in my trust me. Yeah, it's probably just talk about it. Oh, sorry. What one to?
I think I've taken over the goal. Last one.
I've also taken over baseball or junior track break.
I didn't know whether to leave it gold or Nobel. I'll say Nobel. Okay, I'll go now. I've been in Olympic gold.
In what?
In like the 15 years freestyle and so on. Can't imagine you being athletic.
No, it's because I did butterfly and I wish I did freestyle.
What do you popcorn at?
I think I would rather win, with prize, because in my opinion, like, an Olympic gold and an Oscar based on talent, at least with a Nobel Prize, I would, like, contribute something to society. But at least.
I know like way too much about like Tudor period like British history. Like I know way too much about King Henry VIII. When I was like 12, I wrote a 15-page research paper on Queen Elizabeth I, and I went to her gravesite my junior year of high school, and I low-key freaked out. I was like, OMG, it's Queen Elizabeth I. And then I had to go walk across Westminster to Queen Mary of Scots' tomb to go visit her, and I was like, no way, this is so cool. I love England so much because it was just like nerd moment. But oh, I popcorn too. Leo, have you gone?
I've not.
Okay, I'll popcorn there.
I was gonna say Nobel, but I think I'd rather be Olympic gold in break dancing.
Let's see it.
In what country?
Just fly to Australia. I think I could play pretty well. Yeah, I'll popcorn to Tara. Have you gone?
This isn't really a niche topic, but I know a lot about skincare and certain skincare products. I know, like, if I look at your skin, I'll probably know like, what acids you need. I don't know. I've like take care of my skin, so I was like really young as my mom. But yeah, I know a lot about like different products that I think are really good. I also love.
What sport?
Probably like skiing or snowboarding. Yeah. I've always like daydreamed about it when I was like a kid. Not to get like sentimental. I thought it was just be really cool, so. Wait, who has a
I know a lot about superheroes, but not like just the movies, like the comics and stuff. Where have you gone?
Yeah.
I'm the prosecutor, Carolyn, and Paulo. And I would probably want to know for once.
Nash, what would you choose?
I think I would like to win a Nobel Prize.
Attendance has been called. It is 8:04.
Let's say vacation. Can I have someone who knows a lot about England say the
May we, the student senate, have the wisdom, patience, and guidance to be responsible representatives. May we be fair in judgment, enlightened in our decisions, and ethical in our actions. Can I get a go Broncos?
opportunity to live, work, learn, and play on their on their traditional homeland. Let us take a moment of silence to pay respect to their elders and all Ohlone people of the past and present.
Thank you, Liz and Charlie. You may be seated. Every time. Actually, now I'm going to approval of the previous minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. It's 11 o'clock.
You guys are fast with that.
Motion from Tiago, second from Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say previous minutes are so approved. I don't think we have any public comments. So we're gonna start with the SAC presentation, since we need that background, in order to potentially vote today. So, yeah, Kurt, I'll let you.
From the front. Alright, I will kick this off by saying, I appreciate you guys' feedback at the last set about not knowing much about SAC. I acknowledge that, if you're not in SAC, it's probably hard to know about it. If I wasn't in SAC, I definitely wouldn't. So we put together this presentation talking about how funding works, how the process is. Hopefully you guys can make an enlightened discussion about our college change. So, kicking it off, I'll just start with a quick explanation to put into context all the stuff we're going to talk about. Every quarter, RSOs, which are registered student organizations, should request money from ASG. After that, SAC, which is the Student Affairs Committee, decides how much to allocate to these requests, and then we send out NOLs, which are notices of legislation, which can be used to reimburse the expenses of these RSOs.
So what is an RSO? An RSO is a registered student organization. These are clubs and campus recognized by SU. To become an RSO organization, you need to be approved first by CSI, Center for Student Involvement, then by SU during a vote in the spring. RSOs are entitled to several privileges, including room reservations, being at club fairs, use of ASU branding, and ASU discretionary funding from the school, which is decided by SAC.
That was a brief explanation. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. So the money is, ASU receives a yearly allocation from the school, which is split across the year for SAC's discretion. This year the amount was $175,000, and this amount resets at the start of every academic year, and it doesn't roll over. So when RSOs get ASU funding, they typically don't instantly get a bank transfer or cash. Instead, they first spend the money, and then they send the receipts to CSI, which is the Center for Student Involvement, who reimburse them for the work they do.
Okay, so this is a funding timeline. Basically, week 1 of fall and winter quarter, we have an RSO training. So this is by SAC and the Center of Student Involvement. And basically at this training, it's a kind of meeting, and there's 3 trainings usually. We kind of present the instructions for how to obtain funding for each RSO, and then we require at least 2 members from the executive of an RSO to attend. And then week 2 of Friday, the RSOs are due, like the form to submit it for the funding request. And then SAC looks through it. We meet up multiple days throughout the week to allocate funds to each RSO. We basically are just reviewing it, and then week 4 of Friday, we send out the allocations. And then in the summer, for fall funding, we have trainings 4 weeks before the start of the quarter. They're due 3 weeks before, and then the Friday before the quarter starts, we send out the allocations.
So basically, how do funding requests work? So every given quarter, RSOs may either request a guaranteed $200 flat reimbursement, or they can send in up to 3 event requests. So event request can be for a single or reoccurring event. So a recurring event is like weekly general meetings. Single event could just be any single event a club may want to host. So when we look, when doing event requests, RSOs must enter this information, including how many members total are in their RSO, maybe other sources of funding that they may get for a certain event, and of course an explanation of the event, why they're putting it on, who it's targeting, and we have them send us detailed budget sheets. So if it exceeds $500, they send us a budget sheet, and we ask for a specific slideshow if it's over $1,000, just to kind of have more specific information about what exactly they need that money for. And of course, all these points are considered by us in our meetings when we go over funding for the next quarter. And a little bit more, sadly with our budget, SAC can't give everything a club asks for. We can only fund a small portion of what they ask for. So looking at spring quarter recently, SAC had a budget of only $77,687. But you see there, $257,000 was requested. So you can't really meet that needs of everybody 100%. So as you can see there, on average, every 30 cents for every dollar requested. When SAC provides funding for an RSO in those NOLs, which we'll talk about in a minute, we put money into these different categories: money for registration, subscription, apparel, food, and supply and other. So those are the different sort of sets of categories we can place money into.
So this is what SAC sees after you fill out the form. We have an Excel sheet with over 200 rows, 20 columns, and we try to like look at the budget and what they're kind of, how many people would probably attend the event, and then we then allocate money into each of these subsections. Okay.
So this is what the NOL is going to look like. So club can get up to 3 of these for each event. So you see at the top it'll have like the club name, and then the expense name is like what the event is called, and then it'll have like the amounts in each category. So let's say it's like an $1,000 request, and they get 200 in registration and 300 in subscription. Then it'll come out to also say at the bottom that they got 50% of what they asked for, but the number has usually been closer to like 25, 30%. And this is submitted through like the SAC email, and your liaison, the liaison for each club is CC'd on that. And this is what you have, if you're a club, you have to use to get reimbursements.
Other funding staff. SAC also has some PSO funding, which gives a set amount of money to newly approved RSOs and certain clubs requested to be used during the summer. Funding has also been used on other things in the past, such as the raffle for RSOs who obtained it and research there.
I know that was really action-packed, exciting stuff. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Okay, so I was in an RSO, and I don't know if this is like still the case, but isn't it where if your request exceeds $500, you have to fill out something separate?
Yeah, so if we go back to slide,
Sorry.
Yeah, so you, above 500 for a given request, you would need to submit a detailed budget sheet, which is more of like a tabular thing. And then 1,000 plus, you would also need to submit like a slideshow, basically showing pictures and all that stuff.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that.
So,
When you said this number was higher than normal, is it the point, like the 30 cents per dollar number, or the $257,000 number?
from my experience, the 30 cents per dollar number, we've had orders where it's been like 20%, like 20 cents per dollar. We're trying to, like, obviously, like, as, like, we get more clubs and higher requests, we're trying to get more money from the school. So I think we had a $27,000 increase since last year, which was really good. But obviously, you know, clubs are requesting more money than ever. There's more events going on than ever, and there's more clubs than ever. So, yeah. Is that good?
Do clubs get like prioritized based, like, for example, if one club's like bigger than the other? Is there a money allocation in regards to that, or does it matter?
So we generally, obviously, if it's a bigger club with bigger events, the bigger events need more money. A big sort of number we think about is cost per head for a given event. So obviously like if event's really big, has a lot of people, then we're obviously gonna give more money to that event because that event is serving more students and people in the SU community.
Other questions?
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Zach. With that, we will move forward, and continue looking at the bylaw change, sort of in light, of that presentation. Now that we all have hopefully a little bit more clear understanding of how the funding process, and the procedures work. Yeah? Oh. Well, guess we have to approve the agenda first.
Motion to second.
Motion from, second from Tiana. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Agenda is approved. Now, we're gonna look at the bylaw change. So yeah, again, yeah.
Hi, so since last week, on did you know that ounce like part that has like a lot of yellow on it? A little yellow. Ooh, a lot of yellow, beautiful. So, yeah, I know like zoom out a touch. Thank you. Okay, so in light of our sort of discussion last week, a lot of discussions by Erica, which were great to hear. We've made some pretty substantial changes to, especially this section, talking about NO1 merging, trying to make it more secure and sort of secure it as something that's not an exception. That's an exception, not a rule. Main things we've done is we've added a requirement that when an RSO requests a merge, they need to submit some sort of obviously like written explanation. And then off that explanation, we've also added that SAC needs to unanimously agree to approve that the NO1 merge. Something I want to talk about, I just should have brought this up earlier. I feel like the word NO1 merge is a little like misleading. I prefer the word reallocation because essentially what you're doing is you're taking one NOL, you're draining it, and then you're putting all that money into a different one. So it's more of like a reallocation than like a merge. So we've also added that, we talked about those categories before during the presentation. So just to sort of secure that, categories are the same. So if you have food in one NOL, that goes for food in the other one. We've also sort of added this section right somewhere up there, talking about reallocation is intended as an exceptional remedy for unforeseen circumstances. So each RSO can only get one NOL merge per year approved. And then one other thing we added was that SAC also has to keep a record of at least the last 4 years of those NOL merges. That's just so that we can keep track and make sure that no one's sort of abusing the system, keep the sort of central table. Any questions on that? Beautiful. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, what does abusing the system mean? Like, and what does, like, you said something about a table, like, to explain that?
Yeah, so in terms of using the system, something, obviously right now we have like events and event requests, right? So prospectively, if an RSO had like 3 events, or had only 1 event per year, they could maybe like make up some events to request from SAC, get the money from that, and then have the money from those events rolled over into the event that they're actually like having, and then spend the money accordingly. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what was your question?
I don't know, you said something about a table to explain what you would tell Larry what you were saying.
Right, I just mean like a table isn't like a record. So some sort of document, some sort of maybe a spreadsheet, maybe like a document, just sort of housing every single time that we do the merge, just so we can keep track of which RSOs are doing it, make sure that it's saying like secure and not being abused.
So a record.
A record, exactly, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is that it for that? What's up?
I don't know if it actually falls into this category, but let's say like, an RSO was requesting more money for like, from their carryover, like, money from that other event, and they equal like 500 or over, are you still gonna allow that?
Yeah, yeah.
And like, are you gonna request for
in terms of like when you're requesting money, you have to budget?
Yeah, just because like when it was presented, you noted that $500 or more needed a presentation. But what if the two like I guess like funds come together and total $500?
That's a valid point. We don't have anything there right now, and I honestly think that, given that it's like exceptional, we wouldn't necessarily necessitate it, but I think that's a good point, and I think that's something that we could leave up to SAC chairs, because it's not like a guaranteed approval, right? Like they have to actually talk about it, and we can always request more info. So, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
What's up, Dylan?
Okay, kind of building up on that. So if you were to merge the allocations or reallocate, would, let's say you had a first NOL for where the club requested $1,000, but they only were allocated $333. Then they had another event later in the quarter, or I guess like that event fell through, whatever, and they have a future event in the quarter for another $1,000, and that had been allocated once again $333. They wanted to reallocate to make 666 out of 1,000, which would be over the 500. Wouldn't they have to already have done the presentation or form because both requests were over 500 in the first place? And kind of side question, could a reallocated NOL exceed a requested amount? So like if, how do I phrase this? If that same event, the first event that they were awarded, that they were given $333, and they wanted to merge it with a future event that, let's say, was only $500, and they got like 200 of those dollars already allocated, so they wanted to combine the 333 plus the 200 to get 530, which would have been over the allocation. Is that possible? Does that also make sense?
Yeah, no, I hear you. So we got that first line right there, line A, an exception for funding percentage cap shall be applied to the new NOL. So there's just a blanket exception on that. In a real situation, that could definitely happen. And yeah, it's honestly just something where you gotta have just humans in the way. There's so many different like numbers that could go around. With respect to your first question, you are correct. It's very rare that we have a request that gets more than like 50%.
Yeah.
So most of the time we will see those numbers like staying like below what they sort of need, what they sort of encounter, if that makes any sense.
So then to address kind of Sarah's question, they would have had to already had submitted something regardless before even they had to, or I guess before they even would want to do a reallocation in that scenario.
In that situation, yeah.
Yeah, because they could never get over the 500.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Another thing, maybe like for your point, Sarah, like in the first line of number 7 right there, upon the written request of an RSO, they must outline why funds should be reallocated. So like they'll kind of have to provide like a reason, or they could be more detailed as to why they're deciding, hey, this is why we want to do a reallocation of the 2 NOLs. So that kind of helps with maybe addressing if it wasn't originally making a slide there.
Sweet. Anything else? Awesome. Okay. And then if you could just navigate down a little more to like the part about the SAC share. A little more down. There you go. We also added that line, adding sort of that sort of expiration on a $100 budget. I spoke to Erica and she talked about sort of like financial planning issues that could be encountered with that $100 just kind of being floating in the air. So this just sort of sets up such that the $100 is like being known. It's known if it's being used by the finance chair, or sorry, by the finance vice president, so that the money can actually end up being spent and not just like sit in the void and end up just going to nowhere. Awesome. Any like general questions, comments? Is that it?
Not a question, but more so like, I don't know how to phrase this, but since Ted is not here today, have you like talked to him about his comments or like going to like his concern? Just because I don't want to like,
Yeah.
keep, you know, like bothering him.
So yeah, I've spoken with Ted and Victor from CSI like a good amount about all of these things. I spoke with them a little bit I don't remember if it was after center or a different time, because I talked to him both times about different things. But I talked to him once about the sort of, he had a little bit of confusion about what we were saying with like the quarters. He thought what the wording was when, we kind of clarified the wording so it'd be more clear. He thought what that meant was that we could take an NOL from winter and then put it towards a spring NOL. So we just had to sort of define and cement that NOLs are same quarter only, which is just to allow for budgetary planning so that NOLs are only in the same quarter, which also kind of prevents abuse. Yeah. Does that make sense? I know my words are kind of unclear. Yeah. Okay, beautiful.
Second.
All those in favor of voting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Now voting on SPC 5, we're gonna do a roll call.
Again, like, basically two options. Any-
Motion to cancel the voting and make a quick amendment.
Second. I don't think it's a substitute.
It's not?
Just to add some.
Oh, right.
No, you can vote after the vote, right?
It's also like nothing happens with this page.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
This
getting
is
sent
for
out,
like.
so.
Sorry,
Okay. For the archive, yeah, add it here.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it for your.
Yeah. Liz.
Yes.
Sonia.
Yes.
Tiago.
Yes.
Jacob. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mateo.
Yeah.
Allison.
Yes.
Tara.
Yeah.
Herb.
Yes. Abstain.
Frank.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Gabby.
Yes.
Oh, no, sorry. Carol. Gabby. Yes. Melissa.
Yes.
Watch.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Iman.
No.
Leo.
Yes.
Carmen. Yes. Arne.
Yes.
Kay.
Yes.
Mercedes. Yes. Charlie. Liv.
Yours. Oh. Yes.
Oh, great, Charlie.
Yes.
Before we vote, I just want to give a quick shout out to Erta and Bailey, who helped a lot on different like aspects of the work unit. They definitely helped make it a lot better and nicer, so yeah.
Good work, guys.
And now wait, Savani's upstairs.
You passed. Alright. And then now we're gonna look at the PR bylaw change. So yeah, Sophia, Nina, you guys got it.
Yeah, so if you weren't here last week, didn't really change anything of substance. Just changing the title of my position and then some of the responsibilities, just like to update them to what we want this position to be and what it is right now. When it was made, it was for like very different responsibilities that like we don't really need this position anymore, and we want to like continue the work that me, Matthew, and Sophia led this year. Yeah. Any questions?
Also, just to add, I got a few questions on the side, not on the doc, kind of about like if this changes anything with Nina's position or payment or anything, and we're not explicitly asking for any sort of stipend. It's kind of just to recognize what she's doing so that people taking her position later on kind of know what's expected, so we can continue that momentum. Keep supporting you guys, but just wanted to throw that out there.
Motion to vote.
Second.
Motion from Tay, second from Liv. All those in favor of voting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Now voting, again, we're gonna do a roll call vote. Like I said last week, it's just much easier, in terms of record keeping, so, yeah.
Yes.
Allison. Yes. Tara. Yes. Herb.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's your name?
Paul.
Paul. Paul says yes. Gabby.
Yes.
Julissa.
Yes.
Blanche.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Iman.
Yes.
Leo.
Yes.
Carly. Yes. Arnie. Yes. Kay. Yay. Yay. Mercedes.
Yes.
Charlie.
Yes.
Liv.
Yes. You passed, guys. Close one.
Point of inquiry,
Yeah.
did it have to be like approved, like seconded by like a senator or something?
Yeah.
Like, does that have to be a Senate sponsor?
Oh,
Nice balls.
maybe.
What's that?
Does the bylaw change need a Senate sponsor? Or, cause I know that this thing
think
that
not
Evan.
technically, but
Yeah, 'cause the thing
I
that
think it's
Evan-
just good practice, but not technically at all.
Okay.
I'll double check that, but.
I'll sponsor it. I mean, I will too. I think everybody would, but Herb like really wants
It's
to.
not sponsored by everyone.
No, live in them on because you guys left nice comments.
Yeah, no new business, but we'll have some next week, so.
Question.
Yeah.
Do my resolution. But
Did you wanna do that this week?
Yeah, it's on Wednesday.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
I guess if you amend the agenda.
Busy, how does that work?
You can probably still amend the agenda. I don't think it.
Motion to amend.
You should probably know what you're amending to do first.
Yeah. Oh, to introduce new business. You don't.
Yeah, but like what? They don't know. I think they don't know what it is.
Oh.
Before they decide to like amend the agenda, they should know
What is it?
amending
What
it
is
to.
Oh, we're introducing a new resolution.
Do you know what the number is?
Eight.
Okay, but like.
Oh, it's about advancing state basic needs security on campus. So it talks about a multifaceted approach that includes not just food security, housing security, but also transportation technology. So it's like an outline of things that we hope that the institution can expand basic needs program to, but also provide the background on what the basic needs program already have done. So this will be a starting point for the basic committee also to provide guidance for the university for institutional level changes. So yeah, it's a little spiel of what it is about. I hope to introduce it this week, and so you all can offer some insight from your perspective. It's already the basic needs already introduced it to the basic needs committee, so they've already read through it, made appropriate comments, and I've made edits according to their. So the basic committee is composed of staff, faculty, and students who are interested in this topic. Yeah.
That's alright.
Alright. So like for context, oh sorry, you go ahead.
Do you have to sign this handily?
Oh yeah, so essentially, what?
I was just gonna say, before you start presenting, you should amend the agenda.
Yeah.
Now that you know what you're amending it to, you should amend the agenda, add it, and then we can go through the normal
And
process.
then we need to approve the amended agenda?
Yes, yeah, as part of that, yeah.
So if we vote not to amend the agenda, this should be done next week.
Yeah, it can be added to the agenda for next week. Yeah.
Reminder that week 10, like it's week 8, and so there's 2 weeks. We
Oh,
don't have
actually-
a meeting on week 10, right?
We are having a meeting.
Oh, we are?
Yes, sorry. Because there's definitely something to be introduced next week, so, yeah.
Week 10 is not the same as finals week, right? That's when we don't have to do that.
It's not.
Okay.
No meeting finals week. Yeah.
Motion to amend the agenda to add SR 8.
Second.
Motion from Herb, second from Tay. All those in favor of amending the agenda, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Yay. Let's do show of hands.
Wait, can I point an interest? Can we vote to put it on the agenda, but then I kind of feel like Mary already gave us the introduction, so would we get another one, or would it just be that?
I mean, it depends on the questions that you ask. Okay, let's do show of hands. Who wants to amend the agenda? And who does not?
Raise your hand high.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Wait, no, kind of.
Wait, can I make a
suggestion?
Wait, what are we on?
Yes. Yeah, please make a suggestion. Guys, my suggestion is, this is gonna be very fast, it's just Mary presenting, and maybe this means that like next week and the week after won't go as long. It's only 8:30.
Yeah, you haven't been in for even an hour.
It's gonna be quick, but again, up to you guys, just a suggestion. Yeah. Again, all those in favor of amending the agenda, please raise your hand. Okay, Bailey, 14 out of 24 want to amend the agenda. Does it need a majority or supermajority?
This is a good question.
If supermajority voted, like, we would have been done by now, I feel. I feel like we should just let her present, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have any reason to think it's a super majority, so I think, okay. Okay, then it's majority.
Okay, so, we're gonna amend the agenda to add SRA, basic needs, resolution. Can you add it, Ash? Thank you.
Was it?
Basic needs. Thank you. Yeah. Second. Motion from Charlie, second from Lamont. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay. Agenda has been amended. Mary, take it away.
Cool. I guess we can, I just talk about what's in there.
Yeah.
I basically already did, but essentially, because there's a lot of detail to, the ideas that we had, so we had a detailed appendix section for a detailed action plan, and then the resolution section is the first page and a half, it's like a little executive summary of the state of the basic security on our campus, but also kind of the list of general categories of things that we talked about in the detailed action plan. Do you want to say anything?
I just want to re-echo that the basic needs committee, which is faculty and staff and students, have all already like approved this.
We actually waited an extra week to introduce it because we wanted, the committee only meets once a month, and it's very hard to find time for everyone to meet, so that's why it just took place on Monday, so that's why we waited till this week. Actually, it's actually done, the document, last week, exciting time for our institution to expand basic needs program. Before that, actually we didn't have anyone who has a full-time position dealing with basic needs related issues on campus. It was just OSL staff going out of their way to help students. The Bronco Food Pantry started with completely donation-based during COVID because staff recognized our students who were struggling. They were coordinating it and just putting the hours for free. And because of our survey that told the university, hey, there are actually students who need help, who need resources. So last school year, so the 2023-24 school year, it's the first year ever, we've had a person appointed to deal with food, housing, transportation, technology, all of these challenges that some of our peers face. But these are all things that are silent because being hungry or like couches or sleeping on that a non-stationary place. Well, all of those things you can't really tell by looking at someone. Like if someone's sick, you can tell they're sick. But if they're struggling with just meeting their basic needs, you cannot tell by looking at them. And it's a very stigmatized thing too, because at private schools especially, at public school there are established very advanced basic needs programs where they have buildings literally to support students. There are teams of peer advisors and coordinators who are there to help. But our school is just starting, and it's never too late to start. Given we've been around for 175 years, right? It started last year, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I just have a question. Did you send this to Claire already?
Yes.
Okay, Claire, is there any way you can add it to the agenda so we can see it?
Yeah.
Is there? Not there yet.
So link with all can edit.
So essentially, would this resolution just be like hiring someone to specifically deal with this type of stuff? Would that
No.
mostly be what it's
So
about?
we already have someone.
Oh,
So it
okay.
started last year.
Yeah.
So Alexis Savagi, she's in the old.
She came last week to talk in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I was just wondering like an additional person, so.
Yeah, so that's one of the requests. There are a ton of different things that we hope to see that she cannot do single-handedly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the angle also from a student perspective, what we are experiencing. You know, a lot of us have talked about how expensive it is, but what exactly needs to change and how is something that requires conversation, but also people who are really interested in this to push forward, to keep conversation, going.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the goal of the resolution, but also creating a food environment that's safe, accessible, affordable for all students. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Yeah.
So at least for me, the link on there is not like clicking or working. I don't know if you guys have had the same issue.
Yeah.
Can we actually like add like a
Oh, you want it like now?
Huh?
Do you want it on there now? Like you want to look?
I mean, just so we can have it at some point, like
Yeah, I just figured, I mean, we have a no technology policy, so I was just gonna add it so people can see it then.
okay.
We're not voting today, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, when would you like comments and stuff by?
What's that again? By the end of Wednesday next week, and then we'll address comments on Thursday.
Cool.
Can I ask what, like specifically what kind of comments you're looking for? Just because, like you said, it already went through the basic needs committee.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you guys are way more like knowledgeable on stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So the document, especially digital action plan, is outlined in different categories. So there's, for example, like housing, we have on-campus housing, off-campus housing, food, we have Vincent, but also the general food access surrounding it. So if you see issue that's very prevalent, for example, we've talked about in the document, the issue of international students, where do they go during breaks when dorms are closed? Our schools currently don't have anything for them. So if your family didn't budget that into your living expenses when you study abroad, sitting here, then that means they have nowhere to be if you cannot pay for the plane ticket back home. So a lot of, like, I think SG is composed of people from very diverse population, so that it would be very helpful to get your input on a lot of categories of things that maybe we didn't see experience ourselves, but think that it's very common in your community, to add the comment in there with, what if we talk about this? Is it a possible thing that we can improve on? So that's kind of what I'm looking for is in that. Yeah.
Other questions or comments?
Oh, I do know one thing. I don't know if any of you know how the donation, the $50 donation thing works, because even the business because Alexis, they were like, well, I have no idea.
Yeah, we had no idea.
Yeah.
So it was money.
Right, like if any of you know where, like who's operating that and like how the money's flowing.
Is that, do you mean the Benson one?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, I was
Exactly, because we were talking about the committee, it was like, okay, so y'all work behind the scenes, you should know this. And they're like,
It's probably someone in Benson, no?
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, maybe one of
Have
you
you
guys.
guys
I
had
have
the board advisor, or the Benson Dining Advisory Board? Because I feel like they should know.
I think the person would be Sam Florio, maybe.
great, I have a meeting with him next week.
Yeah, no, bring it up.
Yeah, see, I emailed him and then he's like, no response, we have a meeting next week. I was like, okay. So, okay, great, I'll ask him, but if you guys know, if you all know exactly who is in charge of that. Oh, yes.
What exactly like are you not sure about regarding the 50-point donation for
Right,
quarters?
so what is, y'all confused, that's not right, because the purpose is, one of the purpose, I guess, we hope from the basic needs angle is that it can be, basic needs program can be an option to donate your dining points to. But at this stage in time, we're confused, first, where is this money going to? Second, if we want to, how do we, so figuring that out, and we've said that in the resolution that the final goal is to have exactly say, donate dining points to basic needs program. You click, you donate, it should be that straightforward, it shouldn't be so confusing. Even the basic needs program coordinator doesn't know how it works, that doesn't make sense. So that's.
So is it currently the way it works right now? When the points are donated in the last 2 weeks of the quarter, because that's the only time you can donate them.
Yeah.
You are unsure if they are actually going to the basic needs program?
Yeah, so one thing is that we're
Okay.
not sure if
It
it is
isn't.
actually flowing in there.
It shouldn't.
Maybe there's lack of communication
Could we
or.
postpone this
Yeah.
outside of Senate, please?
Right, okay, yeah, we can talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, sure.
But, yeah, so anything in regard to the resolution that you need context for to read through it and make comments on?
Awesome. Okay, well, like Mary said, please Wednesday evening, read it, 100% read it. If you notice anything you'd like to comment on, please comment on it. And yeah, I'll share that to everyone tonight so you guys can look at it quickly. But yeah.
I didn't know there was more.
Yeah, announcements for tonight. Retreat this weekend. Sarah and Erta have done a lot of planning for retreat. Yeah, so I know I'm super excited. I know you guys are all super excited, so I'm excited to see you all there. It's just gonna be a good time. So, yeah. Another thing, just in general, like I know the meetings go a little bit long sometimes, or you might have, other things going on. But just text me before if you need to leave at a certain time. I get it. But yeah, when we're here, try to be present. And yeah, I would just really appreciate that from everyone. And again, Slut Walk, April 16th. History Month tabling tomorrow. A lot of you guys are low on your tabling hours, so I don't know.
As I promise, it's really, really fun.
It is really fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
So, yeah, it's 10:30 to 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sign up on the sheet.
And if you don't like table, like you should come by and answer a question. I'd love to know how much about Black history you guys all know. So
Yeah. It's really fun. But yeah, a lot of you guys need your tabling hours. Again, I do keep track. And pretty much everyone is short. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Roundtable remarks?
Motion to adjourn.
No, I've got a roundtable.
Yeah, just roundtable.
I guess kind of an announcement, but not really, but if you have any attendance, issues, like to let me know if you have a proxy or you're gonna be absent or stuff like that, please direct that to me. I'm the person who reads the Senate absence forms and those responses in order to take attendance, for record keeping purposes. So please let me know if you're gonna be absent. You don't have to send everything to Claire, even though she's very open to all feedback forms and whatnot, but I'm the attendance and record keeping person. So I can text me, email me, or.
Yes, second that. Anytime you guys directly, if you don't fill out the form and you tell me you're gonna be gone, I'm just forwarding that to Savani. Obviously, if you have something specific you want to talk about in terms of attendance, I'd love to hear that, but, yeah. Other roundtable remarks? Is there something, Rita?
Please fill this out. They are trying to reach, I think, 30%, and they still haven't reached that, which is like honestly pretty low. And also the RLC with the highest, like, what's it called? I don't know.
Response rate?
Yeah, whoever fills it most gets like a funding for a project for the RLC, which is pretty cool. And as Danae said, there's like at the end, you can enter a raffle. It takes like 15 minutes, but honestly, you just answer questions about your experience, and it helps them and helps in the future us too. So it's pretty important. Just 10 minutes of your day
Yes.
as a senator.
It's kind of fun, I think, and it's actually like, it's not, from what I remember, it's not really like free response, it's like, the ones where you get to click on the options, and those are kind of fun, so, yeah, fill it out. Other roundtable remarks, was there, yeah, Liz?
The CEC service drive, got extended by about, I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks, until towards the end of I think it's March 14th, right? Or the 21st. 21st. And the reason why we, extended it to that week, the 21st of March, is because, we realized that last quarter, the Bronco Food Pantry, did a drive towards the end of the quarter, to essentially allow anyone who had extra Benson points at the end of the quarter to essentially go to the seller market and like raid the seller market and then give all the donations to the Bronco Pantry. And considering that we don't have optimal donations yet for our drive, we think that if we extended it out to March 21st, we would hopefully be able to promote the same thing like the Bronco Pantry did last quarter, where hopefully people can, with their extra Benson points, raid the seller and donate to the drive. So towards the end of the quarter, if you guys still have like 100, 200, 300, whatever it is, points left in your Benson points, and you don't think all of them are going to roll over, get some stuff from the seller market. There's a box right outside of the seller market in between the ASG office and the seller market. Put it in there, and we'd really appreciate it. And if you want to advertise that to all your friends that we're sending it to the 21st, and they can use their Benson points in the seller for that, that would be great. Thank you.
That's awesome. Other Nash?
Yeah, just a resource for you guys. If you guys need any clothes, but especially like business casual, business professional clothes, there is a relatively new thrift shop on campus called
Lucky's Closet. It is entirely free. It is open, I believe, Tuesday and Wednesday mornings and maybe more. But yeah, you should look it up on the SU website. Super free stuff. You know, professional attire, whatever you need. Yeah.
Going off of that, if you want one of the AG balls and you don't have one, there's some still left in the black cabinet in the office, which you can wear for business casual. And I think there's some like business professional clothes still like new in there, so if you want them, take them.
Yes.
If you need them.
Second that. Other roundtable next?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Motion